Look, we are 2 weeks away from the 55th annual Chicago Pride Parade, and one of the 2026 community grand marshals is someone who would prefer to cover the story than to be the story. We are talking about, of course, the iconic journalist, historian, and co-founder of Windy City Times, Tracy Baim. Tracy, welcome back to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on again.
Oh my gosh,
Of course.
the door is always open for you, my friend. Congratulations on the honor. What was your reaction when they reached out to you and said, hey, we would like you to be one of our community grand marshals?
I was very shocked. First of all, I didn't even know there was a vote going on. And then also I got to be with Mona Noriega and Yvette Cardona.
Yes.
Like two of my really good friends. So the three of us as the individual grand marshals, that makes it all the sweeter. But definitely I was totally shocked.
Well, I appreciate your modesty. However, it should come as no surprise. You are just one of the busiest, most driven, focused, activist kind of people that I have known on the entire planet. Your story is really great. You are Chicago through and through. You come from a family of journalists and photographers. Take us back. Like, what was the moment when you realized that, like, oh, this is what I'm doing? I think it was like you were like pretty young with the typewriter.
Yes, with IBM Selectric typewriter, I would crib for my mom. She did not like that I used it as much as I did, but I was writing when I started the family newsletter when I was 10 in 1973, all about my Chicago neighborhood of the near North Side. And when I go back and look at it, it's kind of all about urban renewal or destruction of properties that were torn down in the kind of Dayton Armitage area. We were on Fremont Street. So yes, I have always wanted to do what I'm doing, which is document a community for its community, right? Whether it was the block I lived on growing up, or I even had a kids consumer column in the Chicago Defender when my mom was managing editor there. And then, high school and college, Lane Tech High School, which I think it's called College Prep now, but I'm going to always call it Lane Tech High School. Did the newsletter there, newspaper there, and in college, and never really looked back, because when I graduated at age 21 from Gay Life, I moved back to Chicago, and within a few weeks I was working at Chuck Renslow's Gay Life newspaper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and it was so funny to me. You and my sister went to Drake, I believe, at the same time in J school. But I know, also the fact that you're at Drake, like that school, that journalism school, is amazing.
It definitely was amazing. They don't do as much news editorial kind of print journalism anymore, but back then there were some pretty big, professors. Of course, all of them were, a little bit patronizing to me because I wanted to be openly gay and be a journalist. But besides that, they were really experienced print journalists. So I really feel like I was there at a really good era for that.
Yeah. So you returned to Chicago. You seem to have a mission to be like, no, I'm going to be an out and proud queer journalist, and I'm going to was that working for Gay Life? Was that that was the goal, or was
no? I was naive. First of all, I wanted to work for Ms. Magazine. Because I figured that was the only place in the mainstream that I could, not that they were quite mainstream, but that I could do the work. But
yeah.
The thing was, I knew how to be a typesetter back then. That mattered. And so I would get these odd jobs. And, my mom heard about the job at Gay Life. I didn't really know there was a gay press, because I had been away for a few years, and before that in high school. So I didn't know there was such thing as a gay press. So my mom heard about this job at Gay Life, and when I walked in the office, I saw the typesetting machine. I said, I can run that. I can take photos. I'll do delivery. I'll do whatever you need. And that's what happened. We were located right next door to Man's Country Bathhouse, and next door to Gold Coast Leather Bar.
Yes.
So it really wasn't a dream, because I didn't know it existed. And of course, it was a very male environment, hence where we were located.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I immediately wanted to do some special coverage of women, started a women's section. I learned soon about the bifurcation in our community among race and gender, and really set out to try to bridge those divides, especially as HIV/AIDS was just really starting and the community saw that we needed to be all together on it. So I think I came in at a moment that not only needed documentation because the mainstream was vilifying or ignoring us, but also it was a moment where the community was starting to come together in better ways. The 70s was pretty hard. I think would have been harder as a lesbian in the 70s trying to make those inroads.
So here we are, 2026. What message would you like to share most with the LGBTQ plus community as we sit today during Pride Month?
Well, a couple things. One, I would say stop letting outside forces try to divide us, especially on trans issues. A lot of this messaging is coming from people who want to divide communities from each other, not just within the LGBTQ, but from other civil rights movements and actions. So don't let the outside forces divide us or the inside people who are just kind of ignorant about their fellow human beings within our movement. So it's really important that we hold the line together because of the forces from the outside trying to literally kill people within our communities through various means, through removing healthcare, removing HIV prevention, removing access to any kind of healthcare, and actual murder in the streets. So we have to be unified, and that is what I saw start to happen, and look to history to get us through the current wave of backlash.
Yeah.
Important.
I mean, stronger together.
Thoughts.
Stronger together that's going on there. And, fortunately, you were the co-founder of Windy City Times. Still came over 40 years of service to Chicago's LGBTQ community. You touched a little bit about, like, on the early days about, like, your challenge as being just a woman in this business and within this community. What were those early days like for you as a journalist, but also for you trying to? Did you all have like a vision to like this is what? Was 40 years even like on in your head, at the time?
No, I certainly, I think we were in the moment, every single moment, meaning what I knew was important was to document. Having been in a family of journalists and certainly learned about journalism history, I knew that what we were doing was creating a first draft of history that was going to be critical to know for future generations. Like I just kind of knew that. And so could be a leather contest at night, a sports event in the morning, a protest, whatever it was, I just felt compelled, almost like an addiction, to get it all down. And this was pre-internet as well. Yeah. So those weekly gay newspapers are things like, are being used by authors like Rebecca Mackay for the Great Believers, right? Like we know it's been validated years later, but in that moment, it was just so important to tell the stories. And the negative stuff, the sexism that I experienced, was overwhelmed by the moment, meaning, yes, it was bad. And there were specific incidents that were atrocious. And there were also attacks from the outside. The Great White Brotherhood of the Iron Fist called me at home and threatened my life. There were things like that, but everything that was moving forward, meaning the gay rights protests, the growth of the pride parades, the response to HIV/AIDS from the community, overwhelmed the moments that could have paralyzed us. And that's what PTSD is for, right? You you kind of compartmentalize the tragedy and the negative while you have to deal in the moment. And I think that's what got me through it. Covering so much death and so much, bad stuff was what the role was, right? So I felt like, in weird ways, fortunate that I had a reason to be what that was, taking photos of people before they died or telling their stories after they died. Like that gave me everything you want as a journalist, is to have a purpose to make sure your community is not forgotten. Individuals within that community are not forgotten.
And as we, the LGBTQ plus journalism has changed, obviously. We're in the age of social media and digital news. How has that changed for you and your job?
Yeah, so now my job is interesting because now I work at the Chicago Community Trust in a pooled fund called Press Forward Chicago. It's part of a national movement of 45 chapters in 35 states that are trying to save local media. And I don't mean save local media that isn't going to make it on its own, but create more sustainable ways for people to meet payroll. And having tried to meet payroll for 41 years, I'm uniquely qualified in the sense that a lot of foundations don't understand that urgency. And so we're trying a whole lot of different experiments in ways to make local media, local independent media more sustainable. Um, because like last Monday, for example, we had 200 people at Chicago Shakespeare Theater for an influencer plus journalism summit. We want to partner with influencers and creators to grow their work and business alongside that of traditional independent media. Maybe there are ways that we can partner with one another. We're actually launching an open call for collaborations tomorrow just for that reason. So our goal is to make sure accurate news and information gets to the people. Sometimes that's going to be independent journalism, and sometimes it might be an influencer. We have to look at the end user, and so I'm excited about this because I was also excited when the internet became a mass availability in 1994. So Windy City Times, well, Outlines at the time, went online. We were one of the first gay papers, one of the first papers really in the country to put everything online for free because we were a free newspaper anyway.
Right.
So people were telling us we were crazy, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I have so much more room.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Can be as verbose
More
as you
stories
want.
to tell. More stories. But it's also like this is a very strange time too, because freedom of the press seems to be under a constant attack from this administration. You've got the Washington Post is now owned by Jeff Bezos. You've got the whole thing going on with CBS and 60 Minutes, and now it looks like that the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, which includes CNN, has received the okay from the Justice Department to go ahead. I mean, so what is to be done, Tracy Baim?
Yeah.
What's to be done?
There's two parts of, first, it is horrible. And there's two parts of these mergers. There's the entertainment side and there's the news side. The news side is basically destroyed. They're going to have CNN and they're going to destroy it just like they did 60 Minutes. What's great in this era, at least while there's an internet, is that there are tens of thousands of alternates. And we have to figure out a way for them to get the amplification and the audience they need. Because people generally, not everybody, and not everybody that votes, are smart.
Yeah.
And they will go to the real news. They will find it. But we have to do our part as citizens to curate and find the right reporters and the right distributors of fact-based news and information. Let them have the entertainment. I don't agree with it, of course, the mergers, but we have to really focus on creating a strong, independent news and information sourcing out there so that when citizens do go to vote for school board candidates or whatever it might be, that they have information from people they trust. And studies show that people do trust local news far more than they trust national, and that's just going to get worse for the national. They're just not going to be the trusted sources.
Yeah. Are there anybody locally? Is there anyone locally that you are kind of looking at right now? Like, you.
Oh, there's more than 100 local media I regularly follow as part of my work. I do think WBEZ, sometimes TTW, the longtime independent nonprofit folks are doing great. Block Club Chicago, all sorts of independent local media that are doing wonderful local on-the-ground coverage. At Press Forward, we just funded a 15 media outlet collaboration on covering the school boards this year.
Oh,
Last
great.
year, we funded immigration journalism for about a dozen media organizations to work together. So we are working on trying to get more resources for the journalism at the same time strengthening the media organizations themselves.
Okay, so look, you've again, as you were saying all this stuff, I'm like, and you were surprised that you got nominated for the Grand Marshal. Like you really are. You truly are an inspiration. I mean, you are constantly on the go. I always wondered, like, does she sleep? I don't think so. But you've also done so much in your life. I mean, you have books on LGBTQ history. You produced and written movies. You helped organize the gay games. You wrote a play. You're involved with a play about the gay games. What is up next for you? Because you really feel like you are a body in motion.
Yeah, I joke that if I stopped, I'm not sure if I could restart. So yes, I never
Going.
take a break. But this job at Press Forward Chicago is all encompassing, and it will go for it's a limited time spent down fund. So it's probably about 3 more years of my life. But I have many other books I would like to do. And Crystal Lake, the play you referenced, was just a staged reading a month before COVID shut down.
Oh.
So I am hoping to go back to that. To get that actually up and running at some point in the future, and working on a couple creative projects. But Press Forward Chicago is very exciting. I'm very grateful to be experimenting with this with folks around the country who are really bringing innovation into that space. So it's a high level kind of gay games level thing for me.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful to have it, and I know that I can help LGBT press at the same time.
Trace, I have a question for you here. If you could pick 3 LGBTQ plus historical figures to ride with you in the parade, who would you pick?
Living or
just historical figures. They could be gone. They could be in the past. They could have passed.
I would say James Baldwin, Audre Lorde, and Eleanor Roosevelt.
All right.
Yes.
That was fast.
Off the top of my head.
Wow.
like
All right.
that.
Blam, blam,
Of course
blam.
you're fast. The gay games, we had so much fun doing that. I was involved in that as well. I hear there's a reunion happening.
There was last Saturday, a 20th anniversary reunion we had at Whiskey Girl Tavern. It was really fun. We had over 100 people. Thousands of people participated and helped volunteer, and it was an unbelievable event. Could never do that thing again at 7 years volunteering.
Man, I would have gone to the reunion, but I was busy and I was bummed out I couldn't be there because we had some, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too. A lot of pride. That Wrigley Day, I'll never forget it. Soldier Field, it was. Yeah, you think they'll ever come back here to Chicago? I mean,
I've heard rumors that people might try to bid for it, and Mayor Daley was so inspired that he bid for the Olympics for 2016. Mm-hmm. Luckily, we didn't get it. I mean, if they do, it would be. I couldn't do that level again, but Chicago did an amazing job. Mm-hmm. It's been in Cleveland since, and it's happening later this month in Valencia. I think it's going to Perth, Australia after that. So yeah, no, never say never, but it usually goes around in different parts of the world.
Yeah, it was great. It was great memories. A lot of good times and good hard work. So yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about, the epitome of hard work.
Tracy Baim.
Is Tracy Baim. She's the executive director of Press Forward Chicago, co-founder of Windy City Times, one of the 2026 community grand marshals for the 55th annual LGBTQ Pride Parade here in Chicago. Tracy, I just wanted to, for real, just thank you for all that you have done for Chicago, for Illinois, for the country, for the LGBTQ folks, for anybody who hasn't been heard. Mm-hmm. Thank you for telling their stories. Thank you for always standing up for what's right. You've
been there.
You've been there.
Thank you, Scott and Ellen, for doing this work, because what you're doing is like what we were doing in the early 80s, where we were trying to reach people who couldn't be reached. And radio is such a great medium to do that for people who are not safe, looking on a gay website or doing other things, but listening to this in the car. I remember hearing stories about that with Lesbian Gay Radio, that some people, that was really the only way they felt that they could get the gay news. So thank you for doing all you've done all these years too.
Well, we're just doing what we do. We learned from watching you, Tracy Baim. We learned it from watching you.
Our role model.
Yes. We cannot wait to see you as you kick off the parade. Make sure you wave up at us and Center on Halsted when you pass. Tracy Baim, who does it all. Thank you so much again for your time today.
Tracy.
And thank you for all that you continue to do to make us a stronger community.
Thank you both.